Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good
Good
afternoon,
afternoon.
Pablo. Good afternoon.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Very well. It's early today, but I'm ready.
Okay, good
Yeah,
afternoon, please.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Solomon Adebayo. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, and okay. Oh, before we start, I would like to introduce to us a moderator for today's webinar. We have Mr. Solomon Adebayo here, but before I give him the podium, before he takes up, I would like to do a brief introduction of who Solomon Adebayo is. Mr. Adebayo Solomon is the program advisor for data science, Rome Business School, Nigeria. He is a digital trade engagement analyst at Philip Morris International. He has worked on the development of several digital tools in several organizations across different sectors. He is the founder of PepsNG, a startup that is into organizational and personal development training. Mr. Solomon has trained over 600 participants from more than 10 countries across Europe, Africa, North America, and South America. He has helped more than 50 people switch career into tech. His area of core competence includes business analysis, data analysis, market research and strategy, competitor analysis, and statistics for business optimization, among many others. Okay, I would like to welcome to you Mr. Solomon Adebayo. Hello, Mr. Solomon Adebayo, are you there?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I apologize. I have serious technical issues, and this is going to be resolved in another 1 to 2 minutes, please. Having serious problems with my network, but I'm working seriously to make sure this is resolved. So I need about just 1 minute or 2 minutes to have this resolved, and I'll join in a bit.
Okay, thank you. While we wait for Mr. Solomon Adebayo, I would just want to play the Rome Business School jingle for just 2 minutes. He has said, I believe when it comes online, we'll switch back to his presentation. Thank you.
And the very dynamic and highly competitive current situation of economic uncertainty demands qualified professionals with solid knowledge of different management areas and with personal and professional skills, such as versatility, adaptability, reflection, determination, and creativity. When it is time for employers to rank their employees, accolades don't go to those who work hard but to those who work smart. The amount of impact you can make as a business owner or as an employee in your organization relies ultimately on your experiences and your wealth of skills and knowledge. Rome Business School is a managerial training and research institute par excellence. Our mission in Nigeria is to train entrepreneurs, managers, and professionals to a level of excellence in their competence and their ethical approach to business and work. This would help them to play a part in the development of the economy. Rome Business School has obtained the ISO 9001:2015 certifications, which recognizes the top quality standards of its training activities. The ISO 9001:2015 accreditation gives our institution the quality systems that provide the foundation for excellent student satisfaction and continuous improvement. Our faculties are industry professionals with long-standing years of proven experiential experience. They provide our students with years of experience both within and outside Nigeria to tap from. With practical teachings, easy-to-apply methodologies, and real-time application opportunities through assignments and projects. There are numerous benefits you stand to gain from attending the Rome Business School Executive Master of Business Administration program. You'd gain global experience, develop your skills and competencies, you'd be able to introduce fresh ideas to your workplace. Through newly acquired classroom concepts, knowledge, and tools learned from peers and expert faculty, you would be able to innovate at a global level, become a leader in your industry, and also gain skills that'd improve your ability to read the market and recognize trends and potential changes in your industry. The Executive MBA program is 1 year, designed for busy professionals, allows them to concentrate on business and also acquire new innovative skills. Our programs have been accredited by major international organizations like European Foundation for Management Development, European Union, Principles for Responsible Management Education, European Association for Distance Learning, Project Management Institute, PMI, among others. The registration process has been simplified, with our career service expert there to guide you along. We offer a flexible learning plan, 100% online or on campus, that makes it easy for you to juggle learning with your regular job. Our alumni body gives you an array of industry professionals to interact with, learn from, and network with. To get started, visit our website, www.romebusinessschool.ng. You can send an email to nigeria@romebusinessschool.it or call 09067556524. You can also start your enrollment here, www.enrollment.romebusinessschool.ng. Rome Business School, better managers for a better world.
Good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Asibo Philip. I'm a program coordinator in Rome Business School. You are all welcome to today's industry insight, and it's tagged Data Science Industrial Insight. So before I commence, I would like to introduce to us one of our distinguished faculty, Mr. Solomon Adebayo. A brief on him once again. Mr. Solomon Adebayo is the program advisor for Data Science, Rome Business School, Nigeria. He is a digital trade engagement analyst at Philip Morris International. He has worked on the development of several digital tools in several organizations across different sectors. He is the founder of PEPS NG, a startup that is into organizational and personal development training. Mr. Solomon has trained over 600 participants from more than 10 countries across Europe, Africa, North America, and South America. He has helped more than 50 people switch career into tech. His area of core competence include business analysis, data analysis, market research and strategy, competitors analysis, and statistics for business optimization. At this point in time, I would like to welcome you, Mr. Solomon Adebayo. Mr. Solomon Adebayo, can you hear us now? Can you unmute yourself?
I can hear.
Okay, we can hear you.
Good afternoon. I hope you're having a great day so far. First of all, I'd like to apologize for a bit of a delay on my part. I had major technical issues that came up just about 10 minutes before the session started. And I'm also presently working to resolve this, and I would put on my video and put on so that we can see, and of course relate it better with me as the session goes on. All right, so thank you very much, Philip, for the introduction, for the brief. It's always a pleasure to be here and to be a part of the community that helps to make better managers for better work. All right, so quickly, without wasting much of our time, I would go on to introduce our distinguished speaker, Mr. Juan Pablo Morillo. All right, he started as a math teacher that has turned into a seasoned analytics engineer. Juan graduated with degrees in mathematics from Sonoma State University and the University of Iowa, respectively. He taught college and high school mathematics prior to transitioning into data analytics. Since then, he has worked for T-Mobile USA and Amazon, two companies with massive amounts of data. Aside work, he's a mentor in the MS in Information Systems at the University of Washington in Seattle. It's a pleasure to have you, Mr. Juan. Please, I would like you to do a brief introduction of yourself. Just give us a background information of what you have been doing in the past couple of years.
Sure. Hi, Solomon. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Fine?
Yes,
Am I audible? Okay, good. Good. Yes. Well, I'm excited for the invitation and to share this presentation or this conversation with you. I met Solomon actually through the data Twitter community. We've interacted via chat, and we've actually met in a video conversation. He mentioned about the program and extended the invitation for me. And here I am. It'll happen so fast. There's a lot of excitement on my side. I believe I've also interacted with at least one or multiple of the students on the call. I know I've interacted with Chris before. If you're there, Chris, hello. About me, I actually had a slide in the presentation that is about me. I hope you don't mind that I'll go ahead and share my screen so that we get started with this, and I'll give you more about how I got started in data analytics and what I am doing now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's see.
Also, to cut you, I would just also like to add that we would have a session to ensure that people are able to ask questions, and would have an interactive session at the end of the session. And so I hope that for those of us who are listening, executive students from different departments, I hope that we are able to take notes and bring up our questions at the end of the session. So thank you very much, Joanne. You have the floor.
Mm-hmm. Let me just find a way to share. So to be honest, I do not use Zoom at work or personally, so it'll take me just a moment to find a way to share my screen. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see your screen now, Pablo.
Perfect. Okay, so I titled this "Making a Career in Data Analytics," and I want to start with the next slide. Actually, this is what, at least for me, the journey felt like at the beginning. There is structure in the coursework. There is structure in, and I don't mean just the coursework at this university, just in general, there is structure in the different courseworks or programs out there. However, once students or aspiring data professionals want to get into the field and get a job, it can feel like there's a sea of information and you're just one person trying to get a job. You see everyone who's employed, you see everyone who's trying to get a job, but there isn't much conversation about the process. Sometimes you'll reach out to people who are already professionals and they'll give you some tips, but those tips worked for them and they might not work for you. And so I want to focus a big chunk of the conversation on this. And actually, when I mentioned that Solomon and I met on Twitter, most of the content that I share is about that the job hunting experience, getting that job, and once you get it, how you excel at it. The topics that I would like to discuss are the following. I would like to put an emphasis on the last one, on 9 questions. I would like this at some point to be an interactive session where People in the audience can ask questions or share their opinions, and we can have more of a conversation. So I'll start with giving you some information about myself, how I got to be where I am at the moment, what my job is like currently at Amazon. I won't disclose any sensitive information. I'll just give an idea of what my tasks are and what my team focuses on. How to get a job after going through a program, how to close that gap between the classroom and the actual job, how I, over the past few years, have found my niche in the global data space, how to grow as a data professional and identify opportunities. Identifying opportunities is actually key. How to network and create an online presence. This is something that I've been working on in the past 4 months. Some challenges I have faced and some challenges I see in the industry, and then we'll get to the question part. So about me, this is me in the mountains here in Washington. I like to spend quite a bit of time outdoors. And I have broken down into 2 pieces, what I am and what I'm not. I'm a data professional. I have a background in mathematics. I used to be a math instructor, math educator, math teacher. I have been a content creator in the past few months. I've always wanted to do this actually, but somehow I got held back, or I gave up within the first few weeks. This time I'm sticking through it, and I'm putting myself out there. As Solomon mentioned, I am a mentor at a local program at the University of Washington in Seattle. And what I'm not is, I'm not an expert. I don't do much ML. I'm not hiring anyone. I'm not. My opinions should not be the final say on anyone's career or aspirations. So please, I'm a data professional. And I have opinions, and they're based on my experience and what I've seen, but those opinions will differ from other people. So take always my advice or my opinion with a grain of salt. I think this is where I get to how I got started. So as Solomon mentioned, I studied mathematics here in the United States. And my undergrad was in mathematics, or what's called a bachelor's degree in the United States. It wasn't clear to me what I would do after my undergrad education. So the next logical step for me seemed to go to graduate school. So I went to the University of Iowa in the Midwest for a PhD in mathematics without a master's. I would get the master's along the way. There, I completed the first year. I realized this might not be for me, yet I'm already here. Let's make the best out of it. This was 2011. Around 2012, I started hearing about data science, data analytics, web development. I don't know, some of you might be young and you might not remember these days, but web development had already blown up, in the sense that there were boot camps sprouting throughout the United States. If you wanted to be a software engineer in 2011, 2012, all you had to do was join a 3-month boot camp and you would get a junior role. Back in those days, they would hire junior developers. Nowadays, the market is only for seniors. If you're trying to break in, it's tougher. I see some similarities for data science, mainly in the United States, Canada too. And so in 2012, 2011, I started hearing about data science. I was in the math program. There were no computational courses in my pure mathematics program. And so I switched to the applied math program, which allowed me to take courses in statistics. And then I started getting familiar with some of these topics. Eventually, I received the master's and decided to leave the program. Right, I wanted to get a job, but at the time I was not ready. I look back and I identified that I was not quite ready for a job. And all of my experience had been teaching at that point. In the program, I had been a teaching assistant for multiple calculus, pre-calculus, linear algebra courses. And so I just actually went into teaching. I went into high school teaching. At some point, I got to teach a Python class. And there I was teaching mathematics, but I wanted something different. That desire to get into industry was there. I volunteered at my school to teach a Python class, and it was that Python class that opened my eyes. Like, I can do this. I just need an opportunity. I turned down my contract renewal. I was in St. Louis, Missouri at the time, in the Midwest. For those of you who are not familiar with the US, in the Midwest, there aren't many opportunities for tech jobs. Most of the tech jobs are on the coasts, San Francisco area, Seattle, New York, Boston. Now Texas has a tech scene as well. But in St. Louis, Missouri, there wasn't much of a tech scene. So I decided to move out to Seattle to be closer to family. And so that's where the unemployment comes in. I did hold odd jobs, but nothing in data analytics, nothing like the jobs I was looking for. And so most of my content actually comes from this part of my experience where I was trying to get a job in data analytics and I was failing. It took me 9 months roughly to land a job, many failed interviews, many applications that led nowhere. And that part of my life taught me quite a bit. Rather than focusing on that, I'm more than happy to answer questions later about that part. Eventually, I was able to get a job through networking. And my first job was at a company called Procogia. It's a consulting company that focuses on data science. They mainly operate in the Seattle area in the US and then in the Vancouver area in Canada. You can get from Seattle to Vancouver in 2.5 hours by car. So they're sister cities. They're just on opposite sides of the border. At that company, I learned a lot. Consulting will teach you because you're a team of consultants. Some of them will be with one client and other ones will be with other clients. But when you connect with your fellow consultants, you will learn and discuss use cases that are happening with among different industries. That accelerates the learning. Yes, I believe someone has their hand up.
Hi, John.
Yes.
I'm sorry to cut you. I just want to announce to everyone that please, there's going to be time for questions, all right? So I would just like for us to leave Juan to have a full course for a bit. And when it's time to take questions, you would, allow us to do that, please. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, but hold that question and then voice it later when we open up for questions, because I would like to hear it. So consulting was my first job. There, as I was saying, I learned quite a bit fast. I am a believer that consulting will accelerate the learning, and it's useful, especially when someone is trying to someone is getting started. I'm not saying everyone should go into consulting. I'm just leaving it out there. It was my manager at the time, an owner of the company, who introduced me to the University of Washington mentoring program. This mentoring program is a Master's of Science in Information Systems. When I joined, I basically had just 1 year of tech experience under my belt. I had teaching experience and other experience, but only 1 year of tech experience. So I was matched mainly with the new students. I'm in my 4th year of mentoring with that program. 3 of the students have gotten jobs, 2 as data analysts, 1 as a security, like IT security architect position, and then I'm working with a 3rd person to also get a data analyst role, or with a 4th person. The program is quite unique in the sense that it takes about 100 students per year. Not everyone wants to be a data professional. Some of them want to get into software. Others will get into product management. Some of them are straight out of school. Others actually have experience in their actual companies paying for this program. But it will match each student with an industry professional to help them navigate through the job hunting process. As a consultant, at some point, I'm switching back to my job. As a consultant, I was sent to companies to work for, right, the clients. And so one of the clients was T-Mobile, and T-Mobile is actually based out of the Seattle, Washington area. The headquarters are here. So I was sent there to one of the telecom engineering teams. And after working with them for multiple months, they extended an offer to me. This is something key. I told you that I got my job via networking. I actually got my consulting job at a meetup where people, it's a networking event. You can go to meetup.com. And I met someone at a meetup. We struck a conversation, and I shared my resume with them. Eventually, he offered me a job. Now at T-Mobile, I am there as a consultant. I am meeting people. I'm working with people, and it is through the networking again that this opportunity arises and a job happens. Hard work is good. Knowing your craft in and out is good, but never underestimate the power of networking. Sometimes, at least in the US, jobs can boil down to, I like that person, I want to work with them, let's bring them on. So that's how I was hired at T-Mobile, through networking. And I was offered a position in a telecom engineering team as, as a data analytics engineer, data analytics person. Most of my teammates were telecom engineers, and so I was like a consultant within the team, but I was also part of the team. I see that someone has written in the chat, maybe this, I cannot hear them. I think it might be your audio, because other people seem to hear me fine. Let's move to Amazon. So after a couple of years at T-Mobile, I wanted something, I wanted an experience at a pure tech company. And Amazon is also based out of here, the Seattle area. And I started preparing myself for that. I reached out to someone who worked at the company. I had a friend in common, met with him. He walked me through, what the role is like, the business intelligence role at Amazon. He told me that would be the best match for my profile. And I started my research on how to prepare just for Amazon. I used resources like Blind. It's an application where tech professionals can talk anonymously. I also went to Reddit, and then I started just preparing it. It took me about 35 to 40 hours of preparation, and eventually I got the role there. And I am working for Amazon advertising for a team that supports an operational global organization within Amazon advertising. Online presence and brand. I've been at Amazon 2 years as of last week, and I believe that in the past 5.5 years, I've learned quite a bit, not just technically, but in the professional world. And I would like to share some of that, and also to set myself apart by creating a personal brand around me online, beyond just my city, beyond my employer. Uh, you know, connect with other data professionals out there and learn from them, and also share the little that I have learned over the years. And that's what I'm doing. I believe, why am I doing it? I want to give back to the community. That's one, but I also want to set myself apart and set up myself for success. I believe that creating an online presence and personal brand will open opportunities like this one. If I were not on Twitter, and if Solomon were not on Twitter, this right here would never be happening. So that's an example. I know I've spent quite a bit of time here, but this will give you an idea of who I am. Something I didn't mention is I actually grew up in South America, in Peru. My family moved to the United States when I was 15. I've been here since. So I am an immigrant. Sometimes people, sorry. Might ask me how to come to the US for work. That's not my experience. I do have friends who have done that, so I can give you some guidance, but this was not my experience. I came here as a teenager, actually. My work week. I had shared this before in Twitter, so I went ahead and just copied that tweet. And I'm also doing some self-promotion here. So this is me, that Juan Pablo, on Twitter. I share most of my stuff there. I can show you how to search on Twitter for specific things rather than scroll down. There are ways for you to search someone's content, like a specific account's content. So at Amazon, I am a business intelligence engineer. I use the terms interchangeably, analytics engineer. Why? Different roles will mean different things to different companies. You'll realize that soon, that what a company calls data scientist is called data analyst at another role, and BI engineer at the next company. So be careful when you're looking for roles. Read through the posting. So my work week. Most people say, can you walk me through your day? Well, days will vary. I think weeks tend to be a bit more standard. As I told you, my team supports an operations team. We support an operations team of about 200 people throughout North America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. There are other teams that will support other parts of the world, but my team focuses on those 3 regions. As you can imagine, working with people in 3 different regions in the world can become challenging. It's difficult to find time so that everyone can be on the call. There are times when I have to either stay late or be up early so that we can have someone from Japan, someone from Germany, someone from London, England, someone from Mexico City, someone from Canada, someone from the US, all in the same call. My team supports this team or org of 200 people. My team, we are 6 or 7, mainly business intelligence engineers and data engineers. We hold office hours. The team that we support will consume data products from us in the form of Excel macros, dashboards, or access to our database, to our data warehouse via a web app. And so whenever something breaks, whenever someone is unable to get what they need, when someone doesn't know how to navigate our data products, they will come to office hours and spend face-to-face time with one of the engineers in my team, right? So Amazon is a customer-centric company, and so our customers are the members of this operational team, operational org. So we hold office hours and help them out to get to accomplish their goals or to get what they need. We also have internal meetings where we discuss what we're working on, if we have any specific blockers, or where we can ask our teammates questions, either technical questions or who to connect with, where we can report to our manager, where the team is informed about what's happening. Because I can be paired with, let's say, a group of program managers working on a specific project, and another engineer in my team is paired with another group of program managers and working on a different project, where the meetings will never overlap. So it's in the internal meetings where we keep each other informed of what's going on. Ad hoc data pools, quick fixes. There are always, these will always come up no matter where you go. So my team reserves 15% of our work week to ad hoc requests. Sometimes they creep up and become more, but we try to keep it at 15%. Meetings with stakeholders, because we support an organization, many of the projects will come from the stakeholders. And so we have to, we meet with them to gather requirements, to walk them through the process, through the progress, to get feedback. So that there is also a lot of time going on these meetings, internal meetings, external meetings. The actual meat and potato of the job is the long-term projects, where it could be sourcing data from another team, meeting with other engineers from other teams, create pipelines, create ETLs, do some analysis, and eventually put together dashboards. When I was thinking about the job, when I was not a data professional yet, I thought most of the job would be that. Building. The reality is, if I were to put a percentage in this over the past 2 years at my current role, I would say it's probably 40%. Check intake for defects and new requests. We have an internal ticketing system, and we visit that system at least once a week as a team to go through the requests, right? Either could be something as simple as a data pool, something as simple as, can I get access to your database? Or it could be more complex, like, hey, the team needs a new dashboard that will display A, B, and C that will help the team to accomplish X, Y, Z. Sometimes these intakes are defects, like something has broken or something hasn't refreshed. We try to prioritize those so that we provide a good customer experience to our internal customers. And I put the last bullet as exploration. If there will be busy times throughout the year, but there will also be times when things are quiet. And so we can take those times to do some exploration, it's about 50 minutes. Okay, thank you. Thanks for that heads up. Exploration or some tech debt, check our data warehouse. How can we optimize speed? Can we go through a data warehouse and see if there are some tables that are no longer used? Maybe we don't need to store those anymore, and let go of them and move on, so that we're not wasting resources. This is interesting. Getting a job. What happens how to close the gap between school and industry, I would say projects. That is your best bet. Either personal projects or projects for other, for companies, for schools, for nonprofits. This is one place where you can get creative. I've shared something on Twitter about this. Actually, I have that pinned on my profile on when you cannot get a job, when you're going for interviews and they tell you, well, I think you're good or you'd be a good prospect, but you might not, you don't have the experience. And so having projects, doing projects for other entities will be helpful for you. The main difference between school and industry is that school has predefined projects or tasks, whereas industry, you'll go through some ambiguity. Sometimes you'll be the first one doing something for the company, so they don't know what to expect. And so you'll have to navigate these waters. Selling your skills. I know that, as a math person, it seemed unnatural for me to go around selling my skills, telling people what I was able to do. Somehow I thought that people will just come to me and discover me, and that's really not how it works. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to market yourself so that you become more attractive to employers. That's what basically building your personal brand is. Dealing with rejection. Another thing on selling your skills, sometimes people will build projects and they'll maybe text their friends or message someone they know online for feedback. I would just post it in all the platforms you can, not just to get feedback, but to socialize the project and to bring attention to yourself and hopefully create some opportunities for interviews. Dealing with rejection. This is a tough one. Initially, when you're trying to get a job, most doors will close on your face, and you just have to learn from it. You just have to, go back, and if you messed up on the phone call, or if you messed up on the actual interview, or is it your resume that's not strong enough, all of that rejection, take notes and improve. Learning from interviews is basically that, right? You go to an interview, they ask you a question, maybe you choke, you do not know how to provide an answer. Well, guess what? That's okay. We all make mistakes. But if someone is asking you that same question the next time and you still don't know it, that's on you. You should go back, identify the places where you made mistakes, and improve in those spaces. Multiple strategies, for instance, for me, applying blindly never worked. And so I had to look for other things: networking, reaching out directly to recruiters, reaching out directly to hiring managers, socializing by projects online, just basically creating other channels of communication that can lead to employment. Looking for uncrowded doors is the same as trying multiple strategies, right? If everyone is applying, then you're just 1 out of 500 people. But if you can go to a networking event and have face-to-face time with a manager, then it's just one-on-one, right? It's your time to shine. So I would look for different ways to make these connections. How are we on time? So that Solomon, I don't know when you wrote this. You said we might give 20 minutes.
I think I would send you a private message in a bit. You could just continue with the conversation. Continue with the slides. I'll send you a personal message in a minute.
I'm sorry, I could not hear you well. How much do I have?
To send you a personal message in a minute. Just continue with the slide.
Okay. When it comes to niche or identifying, where you fit in this global data space, I would say I can only speak for myself, right? I am not the most technical person, and I'm going to put it out there. That's fine. There are people in my team who are much more technical. There are people in the space who are much more technical, but I have other skills. I'm not very shy. I like to connect with people. I mean, that's how I met Solomon. We live in different continents, yet we're able to establish a professional relationship. And I think that's part of, where I shine, where I put myself out there, right? I can advocate. I can share my opinion. I can share my experience. I have been a teacher. I've been in education. And so there is also that teaching and coaching aspect that I bring to the table. Typically, I will, I told you I'm a mentor at a local program. I do like to participate in those type of events. And so I feel like that's where I fit, right? Where I am an engineer / advocate / mentor, and that is my niche. You have to find yours, right? If you are someone who's highly technical, who enjoys research, then let that be your niche, right? If you are someone who is more about big picture in business, well, let that be your niche. Just find your place, and you don't have to find it from day one. I think as you progress, you'll know which areas you're good at, which areas you enjoy, and you'll be following your path. For other people, it could be consulting, right? That is their thing. They are consultants, and they maybe coach other consultants. So these are things that you'll just find out as you progress. Or if you're a career changer, you might want to leverage some of those from your previous career. Growing in opportunities. There is growth at the job, and there is growth outside the job. For example, at my current job, I am not a manager. I will be an onboarding mentor or onboarding buddy to the new teammates, the new joins, but I'm not a manager. So I look, I'm not a mentor at the company. I mean, I'm an onboarding mentor, but not throughout the year, only when we have new teammates. And so I look for these opportunities outside of my job so that I can complement my career growth. So that's something I advise. If you can get what you want within your job, go for it. But if you're not able to do it, let's say if your job doesn't do any machine learning or data science, is mostly reporting, but you're interested in that, well, you can still do it on your own time. You could do it for nonprofits. You could do it with people you meet, with some of your people in your network, whether it's online or in person, and you can still grow those skills. Opportunities, learn to identify them. Recently, someone has reached out to me to lead a SQL course for a local university. I am quite busy, to be honest, but I know that that's an opportunity, and that will look good in my CV, and it is something that I most likely will take on because of what it means for my career and how it makes me, what it does to my profile. Another more unidentified opportunities. I read in scenarios. I put these examples. Let me give you an example. When I was at that company, Procogia Consulting, right? It had taken me 9 months to land that job. And I remember we interviewed this young man, and bright but raw, meaning he was a good programmer. But he had no experience. He was fresh out of college, and he was offered a job. And I thought that the offer was quite nice. It was a decent amount of money. Not what Google or Facebook would offer an engineer, but good to get started for someone straight out of college. And I had to score this man out of the building. And he asked me, right? He shared, hey, I've been offered this much. What would you do? And my first question was, let's say you don't take it. What do you do? What's your plan B? And he had no plan B. Yet somehow the amount that he was offered was not good enough for him, because he was comparing his offer to a Google offer or a Facebook offer or an Amazon offer, and eventually he turned it down. And I remember I connected with him on LinkedIn, and I visited his LinkedIn for the next 6-7 months, and it took him that long to get another job. So the job that he was offered, the offer that he was made was not ideal for him, but that was an opportunity for him to get started, and he just let it pass by. So learn to identify opportunities and learn to read the scenarios. And if it's not obvious to you, run that scenario by multiple people. Networking and online presence. I know we at this point just have like a few minutes, but I'll focus on this and not so much on the challenges, because I think networking is extremely important. Not every connection you make online, or not every connection you make through networking will lead to something, but in my experience, many have. It's not so much about what people can do for you. I would say try to make a real connection with someone, just have a conversation. And so, yeah, think beyond yourself. Not everything is about you. When you reach out to someone, don't just reach out for help and say, hey, can you be my mentor? Hey, can you do this for me? Bring something to the table, and don't ask basic questions. Before asking a basic question, Google that question, because most of the answers are online. Take people's opinions with a grain of salt. What I tell you is what has worked for me, or what I see has worked for people around me. But ultimately, some of these things might or might not work for you, right? I only know things in my market, right? I live in Seattle, and I'm familiar with the Seattle tech scene, but I'm not familiar with the tech scene in other cities in the United States, or I'm not familiar with the tech scene in other cities in other countries. Think long term. When you build relationships with people, think long term. Do not burn bridges. Bridges can be burned fast. Building bridges can take a long time. And online presence, put yourself out there initially. I've been growing my Twitter account for quite some time now, but initially I would tweet, I would share content, which was good, and no one would like it, but you just have to be persistent, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Discord, wherever you're growing your online presence, just be consistent, because consistency will eventually give you some success. And tweak your content, right? If you see that one type of content has more engagement than the other, well, then maybe that's a sign that you should pursue that. I believe that everyone has an audience, and your people are out there. You just have to find them, but they're not going to come to you. You have to create your content, share your journey, and you'll eventually find them. Because I do want to chat with the group. Let's move on to the questions, and I'm more than happy to take on your questions. I will answer to the best of my knowledge. If I don't know, I'll tell you, because I can only share what I have seen or what I have experienced.
All right. Thank you so much, Juan, for the explosive conversation and the very, very carefully prepared slides. I believe that we have a lot of questions, and so I'll just do a quick count of those who have questions. All right. So we take them, and I'll give everyone numbers. All right. So if you have a question, please just raise your hand, and I'll take account of those who have questions because of time, and we just look at it together. All right. So if you have a question, please raise your hand, and then we take count and give numbers. Then we just take as many questions as we can take. Have not seen any hands so far, but okay, we have one person. That's one. That's Sean. Okay. Sean is number 1. We have Dario Ojo, number 2. Let's see if we have other people who probably have 1 or 2 questions, and we just wrap up with that. Okay, it looks like we just have 2 people, but I know for a fact that when people ask questions like this, questions will always bring up more questions. So we'll take Sean first. Sean, please, you introduce yourself, you tell us what you do, and also you ask your question.
Okay, good afternoon from here.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your knowledge. My name is Sean. I live here in Abuja. I am a consultant in communications and knowledge management. So I provide communication and knowledge management services for a variety of organizations. And I would say I started I'm also a medical doctor by training, and I practiced for a couple of years. I worked in the public health space. And while I was there, I was more involved with program implementation, especially the more technical side of things. We're dealing with rolling out HIV programs across different states in Nigeria. But while I was doing that, you know, we generate a lot of data, a lot of information, and I gradually began to evolve into doing communication. So I've actually cross-carpeted careers from being a public health specialist to now a communication specialist. And I find my work moving more into the knowledge management space. You know, so I'm beginning to take an interest in data science, data analysis, and so on. And that was why I logged into this program. And I'd just like to hear from you, what would your advice be for someone like me who didn't study mathematics, you know, didn't do statistics? To be frank, those things scare me. Like, you know, I wasn't failing those things in school, but I just found it a bit difficult to learn. And because of the fact that I'm doing a lot more knowledge management work, working with information, helping organizations to manage their data, the information, I'm beginning to take an interest in it. So what would your advice be for someone like me, how to get started? And basically, you know, so I'm sure maybe you see what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't have the background you had. For me, I see yours look like a natural progression of things, you know, from mathematics, and now you're into business analysis and so on. But mine is a little different. I'm coming from a totally different background. So any tips, any advice, any experiences you can share with me, people like me who want to start a career in data science? All right, thanks.
Yeah, let me ask this question though, so that I can provide a better response. Do you want to be on the trenches? Do you want to be a data scientist, or do you want to have the knowledge on how to apply these concepts to your current field?
Thanks for that question. You know, just before I asked, that was what I was asking myself. You know, that am I seeing a future in data science in the trenches? So, as you said, but for now, I think it's safe to say that I just want to, you know, learn, see how I can apply maybe some of the principles, or maybe see how we can add value to what I do currently, and then maybe see where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. Yeah, if it's the latter, where, you know, initially you won't be programming or be, you know, the data scientist.
Yeah.
I would say, obviously, with the little knowledge I have about you, would be to start within your field, right? Whether it's medical or whether it's content management, to look at the use cases, the applications of data science to those fields, and familiarize yourself with those. Okay. It's always easier for us to, you know, to apply a new concept on a space or industry in which we're familiar.
Yeah.
Right. Rather than, you know, if you're familiar with content management and you know, healthcare, medical fields, it's easier to look at the data science applications to those as opposed to the data science applications to construction and architecture, because you know, for the latter, you're not just learning data science. Now you have to learn data science, construction, and architecture, which, you know, makes the task much more challenging. So yeah, I would say stick to industries or topics that you know and look at those applications and see if this is for you.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Juan, for the response. Also, we have Dario. Dario, if you're there, please ask your question quickly. Just make it very brief so that we can take as many questions as possible. Dario, you have the floor, please. Okay. I don't think he's around. He's probably having technical issues. All right. So while you were answering Sean's question, there was a question that was asked in the chat. I took note of that, and the person is asking how you encouraged that, or you stated that you didn't really have some luck, reaching out to doing like a blind application. All right, and you encouraged people reaching out to specific people within an organization. Right.
Yeah.
So she was asking if it's going to be very easy, reaching out to people in an organization, especially if you don't know those people. So
Yeah.
how to reach out?
Yeah. So I'm reading the question here. Right? When applying for jobs, you advise that we don't apply blindly. Rather, we should try to reach out to hiring managers or someone from the company. How do we do that, considering that we might not know how to reach out to them? Okay, that's a good question. Okay, so first of all, I'm not telling you not to apply blindly. I cannot tell you what to do. I can only share that for me, applying blindly led to nothing initially. Now, when I apply blindly, I do get replies because Amazon is on my resume. But before, crickets, nothing, silence. What I am advising or what I'm suggesting is that if, let's say, applying blindly, which is the easiest way to apply, right? You just click, fill the form. Everyone is doing that, right? That's the beaten path. That's where everyone is. That's the queue. If that works for you, go for it. Take the jobs. Now, if that doesn't work for you, what I advise is to look for other channels, whether it's reaching out directly to someone in the company or multiple people in the company, or joining some of these LinkedIn groups, or sharing your information online. How to look for someone if you want to reach out to someone in the company? You just go online. I mean, I don't. Are you going to share this video with other people, Solomon? Are you going to post this online?
Not
Yes.
really.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So I won't share my screen while I'm looking at how I would do it, but I would go to LinkedIn. Let's say if the company you're interested in is Pepsi, right? You go to LinkedIn, you go to the search bar, and you type in data manager, Pepsi, enter. You'll see some people, right? If you can use the filters, you can filter to a specific location, right? If that doesn't work, you can type in technical recruiter Pepsi, do the same thing, right? Technical sourcer, data scientist, machine learning, program manager, project manager, and then you start seeing the people, right? You can write them a message, you can connect with them, and that's one way to do it. Yeah, I personally reached out mainly to hiring managers and to recruiters. Not everyone will reply. The reply rate is slow, but once someone replies, when someone wants to meet with you, at least when they met with me, I can get them on the phone. Yeah. But again, I'm not saying don't do one and do the other one. I personally tried multiple channels, not at the same time, because I tried one failed, I would go to another one, then I would try another one. And now I am at a stage where I can look back and say, these are all the things that I tried. And this is how I would do it if I were to do it all over again. Yeah. Hopefully
thank you
that
very much.
answers some of your question.
Okay, we also have one person's hand raised. Adiola, can you please ask the question quickly?
Okay, hi. My name is Adiola from Nigeria, and I work with an IT firm. I'm a data analyst, and I've been practicing for about 2 years now. So at times so I started as a banking and finance person. I studied banking and finance in the university, and at times, when in the career I face some challenges that I just look back and say, oh, okay, did I make the right choice? I mean, how do you manage failures? I mean, how do you manage mistakes that I make mistakes that at times I get I get I just get afraid that, okay, am I really doing the right thing? At times, yes, it gets to the point where it's successful. At times it gets to the point where it bounces back at me. But it's just this fear that, okay, I'm not really sure if this is for me, you know.
That's a good question. I think we all have like imposter syndrome, right? I mean, I make mistakes all the time at work. I try to make sure that that same mistake doesn't happen again. When someone reaches out to me for a job or a task or a project, and I am overwhelmed by the complexity of it, I have doubts, and I ask myself, am I the right person for this? Shouldn't they be reaching out to someone more senior or more experienced? But I think when people trust us with specific tasks and projects, it is because they believe that we can do it, or maybe there isn't anyone else to do it, and so that is your opportunity to shine. We don't always get to shine. Sometimes we make mistakes. You just have to convince yourself and tell yourself that you're the right person to do it, and just go through it and push through. That is when you feel doubt, or when I feel doubt about a specific task or project. I also try to connect with other professionals and discuss these things, like with friends, with colleagues, with maybe not colleagues in my same team, but friends who are also professionals in the same field. But if it's more about the actual role or the profession, I think that's something that only you can answer. But I would say try to talk to other people. Try to talk to other people and see how they deal with it too. Don't just take my word. But to answer your question, I have feelings like that often, or I've had them throughout my career. Right? Is this the right thing? And to be honest, part of finding an online community for me has helped. Right? When I connect with others on phone calls or on calls or on spaces, we share some of these thoughts, right? Yeah. Look up imposter syndrome and see how other people deal with it.
All right. Thank you very much, John. I think that's something that happens to almost everyone, I guess. So thank you very much for responding in a way that we can all look back at ourselves and get better as individuals. All right. Somebody also asked the question, what's the difference between database and administration and data analysis?
Database administration. So to be honest, database administration is a role that I see losing attention, becoming more, I don't want to say obsolete, but I think that some of the tasks within database administration have been absorbed by other roles like data engineering, right? And again, please take this with a grain of salt. This will vary from team to team, but again, my team, who is the DBA, database administrator, there isn't one, but those tasks are absorbed or taken by one of the data engineers in the team. And so the difference between database administration and data analytics, I think that data analytics is more customer facing, where you are providing, excuse me, where you're providing, as a data analyst or data analytics professional, you're providing insights to business stakeholders. You are transforming business requirements into data products, or you're doing data analysis to influence business decisions. The database administrator has more of a technical role to manage access and availability of a database and the schemas and tables. Hopefully that gives some idea, but to be honest, I've never worked in a team where there is a database administrator and that's their title. Yeah, I'm not seeing that role gain traction. I only see that role lose traction.
Okay, thank you very much. And your question is also to me because one of my core responsibilities is actually database administration. But anyways, it's okay. Yeah, I get it. It's just on the lighter note, and of course I know that constantly I know the data analysts in the team would constantly reach out to database administrator. Oh, we need this, we need that. Can you get us this information from the database? Because they don't want them to go there. All right. So we have access to it. We get them to data, and then they work with it, whatever it is they want.
One thing, Solomon. No, the tasks. I'm sorry. The knowledge, the skills are very much needed. Are still relevant. Now, I personally, if I were 22 years old, right, fresh out of college with a degree in information systems or data science or computer science, at 22 in 2022 I wouldn't be looking for a database administrator role. That wouldn't be my North Star. That's what I'm trying to get at. The skills are still very much relevant today.
Definitely,
just a clarification.
definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Sean. I hope that question has been answered. I believe it has been answered. I don't know if you have any other person raising hands. Let me just check for other questions if we have any. All right. Oh, somebody is asking a question, Abdurrahman. Oh, he says, I presently work with NRCS, UNHCR funded program as a monitoring and evaluation officer. 80% of our work is data handling and reports writing. So how can I motivate the organization to establish a department or unit for data science?
Okay, so NRCS, UNH, I don't know what that is, but I suppose it's some government or state organization. 80% is work, data handling, report writing. How do I motivate an organization to establish a department? So basically, you're going to ask someone to spend money. And before you ask someone to give a budget or spend money on establishing a new department, basically hiring people long-term, full-time, with benefits, with expand the payroll, you'd have to first show that there is value in it. Again, I have never been in your shoes, so I can only ask to the best of my knowledge, and it would be to first prove that there's value in doing it. And so someone existing or someone who's currently in this program that you're in would have to take it upon themselves to carry out good data science or data analytics practices with the current data and show that pursuing that will add more value than the current state of affairs. And so they would have to determine how much that value is and if it's worth bringing on a new unit or a new department. That would be my gut feeling or my reaction to this. And again, it would also have to align with the goals of the person or the group who approves that budget, right? So I think we're getting into political waters here.
All right, thank you very much. I think we have somebody's hand raised, so let me check quickly and ask the person to take a question. All right, Chris, please ask a question. The floor is yours.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Solomon. Yeah, thank you, Juan, for the wonderful presentation. It's been nice listening to you, as you've always never failed to deliver whenever it gets to this type of thing. Yeah, for the last person that really asked the question, I just wanted to make some contributions as well to as regards the monitoring and evaluation thing. I feel prior to now, I've worked as a monitoring and evaluation personnel back then when I was in the non-profit world. Yeah, so I feel there's basically like some intersections between what they do and basically related to a bit or one way or the other related to data analysis, because I feel when you begin to work with tools like the R, the Stata, the SPSS, they use those tools commonly very well, to kind of analyze data that they get from the field. So and of recent, I've seen roles or opportunities open that they begin to merge some of these titles together. You could have something like, I think I saw one recently, of course, from one of these top INGOs, one of the adverts, they put analyst monitoring and evaluation. So they list some of the skills, some of the skills they need, like they say they need the R, and must know how to work with R packages. Then they complement that with Stata and SPSS at the same time. So it's becoming more broader now in terms of, every aspect of data is infusing into every aspect of what people do on a daily basis. I feel a time will come where every organization now will be like a data organization. You don't need to tell anybody to learn data anymore. So on your own, you need to go out there, pick up the tools yourself and begin to learn data. So because we are already in that, in that space, in that data world, so I feel for me that this is just like a contribution, because most monitoring and evaluation analysts or specialists already work with tools like the R, and R, if you don't pick Python, some say go with R, so if you're conversant with R with SPSS and Stata, you're already in that, in quotes, you're already in that analytical role, thought and thinking process. So it's basically to work better at it and improve yourself at it. So it was just like a contribution. And thank you so much, John, for the, I like your journey so far from the beginning. In the area where you talked about finding job out there, just like you've always told me, each time I reach out to you, you need to go out there, put out your presence online, work on projects specifically to break in that gap between knowledge and getting into the office. So you need to have a kind of a portfolio you can use to show that you can do the job out there. So if you don't have that kind of portfolio, nobody also, you can't prove, they can't test your validity out there. And also you need to go out online, connect with mentors, connect with just be out there online, show yourself, your skill sets. Eventually, people are always there looking at what people share online. They can reach out to you. I've gotten a couple of messages, to be fair with you. Yeah, I've got a couple of messages from mentors online. Chris, can you help me with this? And that was how I get connected with them. Thank you so much, Johan. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thank you very much, Chris. We'll just open the floor for one last question before we call it a day. And okay, I don't think we have any more questions. I'll check the chat if there's any questions to attend to. All right. Oh, there's a question, and this will be the last question for today. All right. Which platform can you recommend for networking on the subject matter in agribusiness?
I really have no idea about the agro business. I've never been in that industry or space, so I'm at a loss. My apologies.
All right. Thank you very much, John. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. I would just I have a personal question to ask, and I think once that is answered, we would hand over to Didactic to wrap up the day. All right. So here's the thing. Okay, so constantly I see that people are looking to go into. I like that when you started, you mentioned that you are not very, very enthusiastic about AI and machine learning. You have your, your niche as data analytics, and I see that constantly there's a drive for people to go into data science, right? I have friends and colleagues, sometimes they say, oh, I think I want to explore data science now. Personally, I'm also more into data science, I beg your pardon, data analytics, but I'm just asking, like, what do you think? Do you think there's a general trend or tendency to go into data science than the data analytics domain? All right, I think that's it for me.
Yeah, I recently shared something, or I answered this question online. Like I should say, I commented on this. There is more marketing around data science than there is about data analytics, data engineering, data DevOps, right? I think most of the spotlight is on roles like data scientist, machine learning engineer.
Sure.
And so, in fact, if you go to, let's say, LinkedIn, and you look at an opening for, I'm just going to throw a company like Lyft or Uber, ride sharing companies big in the United States. If you go to LinkedIn, San Francisco, data scientist and data engineer roles, the data scientist role within a week or two will have 200, 300 applicants. And the data engineering role will have 20 to 30 applicants, right? Roughly 10% of what the data scientist role will have. The pay, the salary is about the same. In my opinion, the level of complexity is also about the same. They're focusing on different parts of the spectrum, but the complexity is about the same. I'm not against data science, ML, deep learning, AI. No. I'm interested in those fields as well. I just don't practice them, and I'm more of the idea of going towards uncrowded doors, right? If I am seeking employment, I am unemployed, and I have these skills, and I see that I have to compete with 200 or 300 people versus competing with 20 or 30 people. For me, trying to get a job, I would go for the door that has a shorter line. Once in, I can change if I want, but in that scenario, my priority would be to get a job, to get my career started, to grow. So what I would tell people is be aware of your opportunities, your options out there. And the data space is more than the data science role. There are other pieces in the puzzle. There are other options. And even if you studied one thing, it doesn't mean that you cannot do the other. I mean, to be honest, I don't have a data science degree. I took one programming class in my graduate school and undergraduate experiences combined, right? Most of the knowledge and information is online. You can learn anything you want. Just be aware of what options are out there for you, and what you can get into. But yeah, the opportunities are out there. DevOps, DevOps is big too. Data DevOps or data ops, I think it's called. Yeah, not enough people know serverless analytics, right? There's also a push for that. So just be aware of your options.
Thank you very much. I think that will be the final question for the day. It's a really been a pleasure. Juan, started from just conversations online, and this is a reality. I'm super excited. I look forward to connecting with you, and I hope that the students are also able to reach out to you. Juan is very open. He's one of the very prominent forces in the data community on Twitter right now, and I think you should reach out to him if you have questions personally. You can follow him at that Juan Pablo. You might want to put that in the
I will put it
chat.
there.
I think you could reach out to him for questions and for further, maybe follow up or whatever it is you want to do. All right, so thank you very much. You can also follow me at Adebayo Solomon, Adebayo _SD on Twitter, and definitely we can always connect. And of course, the other faculties in Rome Business School are always open to reach out to us. I'm excited and I can't wait to connect with everyone, on projects, and perhaps we'll get to work together on projects in the future. I definitely look forward to that. So thank you very much, everyone. Didactics, over to you.
So what?
All right, Juan has a comment.
Yeah, just one quick question. So to be honest, I get a lot of DMs on Twitter, so it's difficult for me to reply to 50, 100 people. If you, I will do my best to reply, but if you are looking for, I've shared the Twitter handles there already. Someone is asking, I've shared mine and Adebayo's, but if you're trying to look for information online, I'm going to share my screen and share with people this, because it'll save everyone some time. And I'm sorry that I'm hijacking the presentation, but this is what you do, right? If you're looking for something, let's see, I checked here work week before, right? So this would be how you search someone's profile, right? If you're interested in, let's say, blind applications, you search blind at my specific handle. I think that will reduce a lot of the DM in my opinion. And you can do that for anyone on Twitter. Again, my apologies for taking over, but I think it will reduce a lot of the back and forth in case that information has been shared. Please take no offense to this, but if 50 people are asking me the same question and I've already shared content about it, it would be best if you could just refer to the content being that has been shared. Thanks again.
All right, thank you very much, Juan. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of this. Over to you, the doctor.
Okay, thank you so much, Solomon. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, everyone. It was a very wonderful session. This is my first time of meeting Juan, and I really gained a lot. So I believe we will all go home with something new. We're going on with something new today. So we'll end this meeting here. This is the last junction. But before we close the day, I would like to say, we'll have a wonderful evening. Thank you for participating. Thank you for asking your question. I believe the thoughts we've taken today, we'll work on them to better ourselves, so that before the end of our program, we'll be a better manager for a better world, because that is our sole aim in Rome Business School, to make you a better manager for a better world. Thank you all very much, and do have a lovely evening. Bye, Juan. Bye, Solomon Adebayo. Bye, all participants.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye. See you later in the future. Bye-bye.